welcome back to Holistic Flow. I am your girl Lolo, and in this video I'm going to be showing you my routine. I have semi freeform locks and my new growth grows away from my locks. So I'm going to show you my wash day routine and what I do to help combat this. And if you don't know what it means for your new growth to grow away from your locks and why you may want to combat it, don't worry, I'll definitely explain what it is. But first, I'm going to just show you a 360 of my head. So when I tell you my scalp is dirty, I usually wash my hair every 2 weeks, but currently I have snowflakes falling because my scalp gets a little bit dry. I don't usually put any product on my scalp because I find that the more product I put on my scalp, the more buildup that I get, honestly. So this is just kind of an up close and personal shot. So when your new growth grows away from your locks, that just means that the new hairs that are growing out of your scalp, they grow, of course, but they don't lock into your already formed locks. So you'll have these little hairs like I'm pulling out right here, and these little hairs, they grow out of my scalp, but they never form into a lock. So since I don't retwist my hair, these hairs are just straggly hairs, and they end up just either some people choose to just have their hair grow away from their locks and make new baby locks, but eventually what will happen if you have a lot of these hairs that grow away from your locks, it will start to make your locks thin out because your new growth isn't going into the already locked hair. So it basically just grows away and makes the base of your locks thinner. So what I'm gonna do is just show how I combat my locks from thinning and connect my new growth with my locks in this wash day routine. All in all, there's not anything necessarily wrong with your hair or your locks if your new growth grows away from your locks. It doesn't mean that your hair is growing wrong or you have a malfunction or anything like that. Some people just prefer to put the new growth into the lock, find out what works best for you. And if your locks are thinning at the roots, this routine hopefully will help you. So before I get into the shower, I'm actually going to do this step that I recently started doing, which is brushing my locks. This is a soft bristle brush that is so old. I've had it since I was relaxed years and years ago. So don't even ask me where I got it. Probably Walmart or Target or something like that. But the bristles are really soft, and I started doing this I think because I started seeing it on social media. And some of the benefits of brushing your locks are that, number one, it helps get the lint out of your locks. So a lot of times there are particles, maybe dust, dirt, lint, etc., things that we don't even see with the naked eye. And so if you see me brushing my locks now, you'll see that there's like some particles flying around. Yeah, that's because locks get dirty. So there are things down the shaft of the lock that you can't see, so you have to brush them out, or you'll want to brush them out, and you'll want to do this before you wash your hair so that when you do go to shampoo your hair, those dust and lint particles that are on the surface of the locks don't get mixed in with your locks, because oftentimes these things can be a similar texture as our locks, so we just miss it. So I just go thoroughly, and I kind of do it in sections. Again, you want to do this before you wash your hair, when your locks are dry, and go brush throughout your entire head. Another thing is that you want to brush your locks when your locks are mature. I recommend don't start brushing your locks until at least 8 or 9 months locked, just to make sure. The reason why you want to wait till they're mature is because, of course, depending on how you start, if you start with finger coils or if you start with 2-strand twists like I did, they can become unraveled if you're in the 3rd, 4th, 5th month, even 6th month. they can become unraveled if you are brushing your locks. So yeah, wait till they're mature. So I just brush them throughout before I get into the shower. Now we're ready to do the normal lather, rinse, repeat cycle. And I have another wash day routine on my channel. This part is just going to be just exactly like the other wash day routine. I'm going to be using the same product. I only literally use one shampoo. So just typical lather, rinse, repeat. Feel free to watch me do this process. Now we all know that you gotta lather, rinse, and repeat. Can't forget the repeat, because that first lather, it don't really be hitting like that. It don't really be hitting all that hard. But when you go with that second lather, that's the one. That's the one. Feel free to lather, rinse, and repeat a third time, but for me, 2 times is good. And then after my second time, I use a t-shirt to wrap my hair up to dry it, not a towel, because our hairs are curly. On towels, our hairs often get stuck in them, rather than t-shirts are a lot more efficient, at least in my opinion. Clean hair, clean scalp, get into it. But here's some more close-ups of what it looks like after I wash, so you can see that my roots need to be separated at the root, or else I'm gonna turn full free form. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the locks and show you how I get my new growth to grow into my locks. To moisturize my hair, I'm only going to be using 2 products, and I only ever use 2 products. I love the smell of rose water, so I use this rose water hydrating mist that is made of distilled water, rose water, and aloe vera juice. And then I also spray on my hair distilled water from Target. The reason why I use distilled water is because instead of hard water that comes out of our faucet, distilled water has less of those things and minerals that make your hair hard and crunchy. So for me, I find that it's a lot softer on my hair. It's always better to organize the hair, so I work in sections. I just put the top of my locks up while I work on the bottom. First, fully spray the bottom of my hair with that distilled water, and then when I work on the individual sections on the bottom of my hair, I spray rose water in sections. So I literally go row by row, and the way that I did my parting system, when I started my locks, I parted them in rows, or I have what's called brick layering parting. So I literally have rows of locks in my head so that I could work in more organized For some reason, the camera wanted to focus on my face instead of the back of my head, but that's cool, because I'll show multiple angles of me doing this. So first I'm gonna pop my locks on the whole row, which just means separating my hair at the roots so that my roots don't marry each other, so that the roots don't combine, and so that pieces of hair that were intended to go into one lock doesn't accidentally go into the lock next to it. So I kind of separate, organize, pop the locks, separate my hair at the root. I have a video on how I do this. I'm gonna put it in a card right here. So again, when your hair grows away from your locks, you just have new growth that doesn't want to lock into your already current lock. So as you see, there's all this new growth that I wanted to go into the lock. So what I'm going to do is braid my new growth around or into my lock. So all this fuzzy hair, I'm going to make a braid with it. So the new growth, I'm gonna part it into 2 sections and allow the 3rd section of the braid to be my actual lock. So I'm literally just gonna braid like I braid hair. Overhanded, underhanded, it really doesn't matter. Also, do not fret about there not being that great of focus at this angle, because I will show multiple angles of me doing this method of braiding the new growth into my locks. But I do credit this to 1 or 2 subscribers here on YouTube that suggested, or first of all, a lot of you have pointed out that my new growth had grown away from my locks, and I saw it once I searched up other videos of other YouTubers who do the same method. And the other YouTubers that I saw are Atreo Locs, and then also Yanni the Lockologist. So I'll link some of their videos in the description box below so you can check them out as well. But in essence, I literally go row by row from the bottom to the top. I first separate the locks that want to marry at the roots, and then I get one lock and notice the hairs that are growing away from that lock, and then I just make a braid. Now, for all the locks that I've already braided the new growth into, I have those in a ponytail holder so that I can just keep my hair organized. I think it's really important to keep your locks organized, or your hair, or whatever you have on your crown. It's important to keep it organized, just so that it's just a lot better. It's a lot more efficient. This was my very first time doing this method, by the way, and it was kind of trial and error, and I was kind of learning as I was going. But I will definitely continue to do this because I found that it's very effective. The front angle is definitely a better angle if you didn't catch me when I did this in the back. But this disclaimer, this isn't a braiding tutorial, but I'm just showing how I do it. And also notice that I'm not starting from the root, like the root of my hair. It's actually more so the root of the lock. It's actually more so where your lock starts locking, would you start to braid. So again, if you know how to braid, this would be great. And honestly, if you know how to twist, you could probably do this with the twist too, like with the 3-strand twist. That would probably work as well. But it's mainly, you know, wrapping the hair around the lock in a way that the hairs get intertwined with the locks. And this was a great method for me because I found that it really works. after you finish, you're gonna want to towel blot your hair. In this case, shirt blot your hair, because your hair will be dripping. And I usually air dry my hair. I usually don't use a hooded dryer. If I do dry my hair manually, I'll use a blow dryer on a low setting and just run it through my scalp. Please never go to sleep with your hair wet or damp. Please never lay down with your locks wet or damp. Every time I say hair in this video, I mean locks. I use them interchangeably. But this concludes my routine. Here's a little 360. So you may not be able to tell a huge difference, but I can definitely tell. But you can certainly tell when I show my scalp, because it's sort of a cleaner look. So if you have semi freeform locks and you find that they get really fuzzy or your roots get really puffy, possibly your new growth grows away from your locks and you are not aware of it. I wasn't aware of it until a few weeks ago when people brought it to my attention, and again, I'm thankful for those comments. They were very helpful. Now I know this method and it works for me. So in my last wash day routine, you may have seen that I have another method that supplements retwisting, and it is doing 2-strand twists without doing a retwist. And I guess I'll use that method and this method of braiding my hair into my locks. I use these two methods interchangeably, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go watch my other updated semi freeform wash day routine, and you can see another version of what I do on my wash day to my semi freeform locks to maintain them without a retwist. So you can see that the edges just look a lot cleaner. They're just not as puffy, and I really enjoy it. So this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and tell me if you do this method on your locks, whether you have semi freeform locks or not. And I hope to see you in my next video. But until then, I'm sending peace your way, love your way, enjoy to you, your family, and your friends. All right, y'all. Peace.